What do how do you think things are going to play out over the next year?
Right, right. Yeah, so there are two parts to that. There's an obvious part, and then I think there's what we're betting on with Gondor. So the obvious part, I think, is sports betting, which is a bit unfortunate for me to see, honestly. Prediction markets clearly found the PMF there. It's def- by like technically it's a loophole which lets you provide the sports betting product without calling it a sports betting product, right? And so now we see it with um, Kalshi rolling out combos, which are just paralyzed. We see it with Polymarket US being mainly focused on sports rather than other markets. And yeah, I think generally sports betting will be huge. And eventually, the sports betting companies themselves, we already see them kind of like leaning towards that prediction market direction because it's very convenient when you can just call a product prediction market and then like avoid being regulated by so many different structures. Plus, you also can like attract market makers and everything. Like it's just different like nature, different model. And I do think that prediction markets for sports are a better product than sports books for sure. Better odds, better liquidity. Prices are more fair, right? But it's still sports betting, which I'm not a fan of. So that's that. But it will be big, and eventually, I think if you've seen any demo, like whether it's Robinhood, whether it's Coinbase, whether it's any other app, you'd see them like talking about prediction markets when they show you the interface and the first thing you see is like some game between the two different teams, right? Yeah, we live in society. That's that. But I think another thing we are bullish on with Gondor specifically is institutions. So we see lots of different traditional firms being interested in prediction markets. Like Susquehanna has been market making on culture for quite a while. As far as I've heard, Jump Trading also started doing so, either on culture or on Polymarket. It's all rumors. Don't have much info there. But then Falcon X started looking into prediction markets. And obviously, the reason why Polymarket raised to build from New York Stock Exchange is because they want to be on Wall Street, right? And that's what our video was also about. So we're betting on this institutionalization of prediction markets and getting more, I guess, professional players in the field, especially on markets which are hedgeable or correlated. So like pricing markets, stock markets, I mean, and I don't mean stock market as like the typical one, but rather like markets dedicated to stocks on Polymarket, right? So those types of markets would probably grow because of those institutions, and there are different strategies you can build around them, combining them with real world assets like stocks themselves, right? And that's something very interesting for us specifically, and that's I think the kind of long term target audience Gondor is building
Cool,
for.
cool. So